What's up, you beautiful collectors and action figure fans? It's the one and only Optobotomist coming at you with another video review. And on today's episode, thanks to the support of my Twitter follower at DDDDcade, we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Siege Rainmaker 3-pack, consisting of Acid Storm, Ion Storm, and Nova Storm. For the package, you got that really nice open window that fully showcases the figures. You got the Transformers Siege logo down there. You got Transformers, Generations. The side here has all three of them in their Tetrajet mode flying around. You can see our Voyager classes. Then you got that very common image on this side of the Arc blasting away from Cybertron. Come to the back of the package, and you got up-close images and product shots of Acid Storm, Ion Storm, and Nova Storm in their robot mode, as well as their vehicle mode. As soon as we saw, or at least when I saw the Tetrajet mode for Starscream, and then obviously Thundercracker and Skywarp, we knew we were going to come, but I had no doubt in my mind we were also going to be getting the Rainmakers. And I really appreciate Hasbro putting it in a 3-pack so you can get them all at once. But for the packaging on these guys, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get them out here and see how cool they actually are. Alright guys, so here we have Acid Storm, Ion Storm, and Nova Storm opened up and out of their packaging. And again, this was definitely a group of figures that I anticipated being made when we first saw the Tetrajet version of Starscream. Mostly because these were like the first Tetrajets that we saw. So it just makes sense that these characters would get this kind of treatment. Starting off first with Acid Storm, as you can see, you got a really nice, very bright green color. I don't know how well that's coming across on my camera. Sometimes the bright figures get a little bit too bright. I know that Nova Storm probably is going to be like that, but it does have a very nice neon look to it. You can see it also has a lot of that battle damage, or I don't even know if they were calling it rust or whatever. It's got that wear throughout it, and I like it. I think it still looks pretty good. Now, on a lot of the other Siege figures, there is a kind of tendency to overdo it. For these guys, it doesn't bother me really all that much. The Rainmakers are described as being some of Shockwave's strongest troops, so it makes sense that there's going to be a lot of battle damage and kind of wear on their look. You can see that all of them have a very similar paint scheme in terms of some of these extra highlights, like the cockpit section, the little sections on the wings, the nose section, obviously around the cockpit and everything. All of them basically have that. The biggest difference that you're seeing is the change in the color. They all also have really nice Decepticon logos on both sides there. You can see that the weapons plug underneath the bottom, much like Starscream's did. Again, I like putting them on the side. You can kind of put them any which way you want. I mean, you can put them on the bottom like that. I guess that's not too bad. That looks pretty good. But I just like keeping it fairly close to the body like that. You also have the diagonal here where you can put it in. But I don't know. That again, I don't feel like that looks all that good. So I like going on that one right there. It's personal preference, obviously, but I mean, you do what you want to do. Now, like I said, there is no real difference between any of these. Acid Storm was really the only one of the Rainmakers to initially get a name. Ion Storm and Nova Storm weren't given names until fairly recently, but I think that Acid Storm was given a name back in like 2008. And the term Rainmaker is basically was kind of loosely said in, I want to say it was by Blue Streak, I think. I forgot the name of the episode, but he basically just referred to them as Rainmakers because they would go up and then they would shoot and make it rain. So it wasn't necessarily calling these guys Rainmakers, just what they were doing. And then fans started using the term so much that finally Hasbro decided to call them the Rainmakers. Like I said, Ion Storm here and Nova Storm were given names later on. I don't remember, but it was fairly recent. But again, you can see that primarily the only thing that really changes is the primary color. The other thing that, well, I guess the color of the Decepticon logo as well, whereas this is a kind of darkish gray. This one definitely has more of a purple look to it, which does look good. Now, I have yet to get the Thundercracker and Skywarp version of this mold. I do want to get it, but it is going to take some time. Again, it was thanks to my Twitter follower DDDDcade that bought some stuff that I was selling that allowed me to buy these. So if you want to help support my channel, buy some of my stuff. But one thing that I did notice is that the blue color here on the Ion Storm is very similar to Thundercrackers. It's very difficult to see the difference. You do notice a lot more in terms of the robot mode, so it does differentiate them, but the blue in general does look very, very similar. And I'm taking these guns off because I'm going to transform one of these because it has been a little while since we seen the transformation, so I will go through it. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but it's easier to do it when you take the guns off. And then obviously Nova Storm, very bright yellow. This is a really nice color. It has a very vibrant look to it that I don't feel is too blinding, honestly. It looks really good and probably looks very bright on my video here, but it is really nice. But again, you can see that all the little subtle paint details, like the little intake, the edges here, around here, this, all the same amongst all of these. I'm trying to look in the back here. Yeah, even the chest thing is basically the same, and then the thrusters all have the same color. Also, the splotches are identical on here. You can kind of see that like with the silver here, and then you can see that there. So that's a little bit disappointing that they didn't give a little bit more uniqueness to the kind of pattern of the wear on there. I wish that was a little bit more, I guess, random, but I mean, you could totally see like the little silver section coming right down here is the same as that. It's a different color. Obviously, this is a silver, whereas this is a very kind of brownish color, I guess. So it's all the identical pattern, but is different colors, much like everything else on it. So again, taking that off. Now let's start off with the Acid Storm. Ion and Nova, I will go ahead and skip those. But first, what you want to do, come around here to the underside and you can detach this. One thing that I will say is that it is nice to see that these little chest pieces have been attached a little bit more securely. They still didn't pin them, I don't believe, but the little nubs are much better. Like, they're not coming apart really as easily as Starscream's did, which is really nice. And then we're going to take this one. We're going to lift this up, kind of wedge this away, then bring that down like that. Pull this away from the arms. It does get tabbed in there very securely. Come on, pull that away, just kind of hinge that up, and then you can do whatever you want with that. Come around here to these, pull these arms away from the legs, and then bring these legs down. Rotate him at the lower portion of the legs. You can take the feet, can flip those out on both sides. Do that there. Just like that. Come around here, push this down, and that will kind of pull the head up as well. And then you can bring that all the way down, lock that into place, rotate that. Take this little back headpiece, detach this from the back of the head, and then tuck that into the little cavity there. Take this, split that in half. Rotate this up around like that, and then hinge this whole thing down. And accordion, come on, let's see. Yeah, bring that down. Accordion this bit up, lining up the back pieces so that you can tab that in. A little bit tricky. There we go. Tab that in on both sides like that. Can bring these arms up. Now you can like this. I like leaving it like this. I mean, you could if you wanted to leave it like that. It kind of hides this little gap right there, but it doesn't really matter, honestly. You can do whatever you want with it. Then this piece, you open this. There we go, and then pull this entire thing out. Rotate his fist around, and then close that back up. And rotate that arm into the proper position. So do that again. This side, just kind of rotate this around until you find the little section that flips open. Pull the whole bit down. Rotate the fist out. Collapse that. Just like that. Bring all these bits here. This is going to, I mean, you can kind of position this how you want. You can angle this up. You can leave it down, whatever you want to do. And then obviously we're going to put his null rays on here. One thing that I have noticed is that there is a slight difference between all these. This one is a little bit loose on them. I want to say Nova Storms are really loose, probably the loosest of them. So I may have to put some floor polish on there just to tighten that up. But there we have Acid Storm in his robot mode, and because I already did the transformation, I'm not going to go through all of them, so I'm going to use some good old-fashioned movie magic and go from these guys looking like this to looking like this. And again, I absolutely love the way that these guys looked. If you go back and look at the cartoon, while yes, the colors were slightly different, the colors that they had were extremely kind of just focused on the main color. There wasn't a lot of extra detail put on them. And these figures do a great job of replicating that. And the mold, I think, just works absolutely perfectly for these guys. It to me, it just feels like these were what the mold was designed for, which is weird to say because Starscream, Thundercracker, Skywarp, those are the main seekers. These guys, though, just work perfectly for it. Now again, starting off with Acid Storm here. Predominantly the colors are this very bright green, but you got some nice detail here with the intakes on his chest. Obviously the chest piece here. I mean, a lot of the robot mode here does what kind of Transformers did for the longest time. They had Cybertronian modes, but when they transformed into the robot mode, the robot modes had bits and pieces from their like Earth alt mode. So it's like, don't really know why he would have a chest like that when his cockpit looked like that. I mean, it's kind of weird, but I mean, it's accurate how it was. You can see a lot of that paint damage is still on there. The head sculpt here is the Starscream one. It is just the kind of straight face. I know that it's either Thundercracker or Skywarp comes with a smirk, which I feel would work a little bit better for Starscream, but you know, it is what it is. I love that they have a little tiny Decepticon logo on the underside here of the wings, which faces forward here in bot mode. That looks fantastic. And then you got a nice little added white detail. I mean, all of them have that little white detail on the abdomen area. Now, like I was talking about, the null rays here, it varies. Acid Storms here are probably the best inside there. I'm going to be able to fix that with a floor future shine polish trick, so that's not that big of a deal, but it is something worth noting. Articulation is basically the same. The head's on a ball joint. All the joints, for the most part, still feel really good. The elbows might be a little bit looser than I would like, but it's not terrible. You got the rotation there, forward and back at the hips, in and out at the thigh, the bend here at the knee, the ankles that move forward and back have the nice tilt in there. So lots of articulation in these guys as well. And the fact that we have gotten this now a total of 7 times. I mean, we got Starscream, Skywarp, and Thundercracker. We have Red Wing, which I have no interest in getting, and then we have the Rainmakers. So yeah, a total of 7 different uses of this. The mold seems to be holding up pretty well, but this is definitely really loose inside here. That it's unfortunate, but again, that's an easy fix. Now, as I was talking about, his color is very similar to Thundercrackers, but it is a noticeable difference. Also, the chest detailing is a lot different. So when I do get that Thundercracker figure, I will pull this guy out to do a comparison to show you. But yeah, see that? I mean, that's definitely kind of floppy in there. So you will see that, but it does a really good job of looking different than Thundercracker. So I really do appreciate that. Again, you got the nice Decepticon logo on the inside of the wing. Articulation is exactly the same. He's got the same head sculpt as well. Just overall, I mean, all of the colors on these are really very rich and vibrant. I absolutely love how these colors really came out. And then taking a look at Nova Storm here, again, his are actually pretty good in here. This one's a little bit loose, as you can see on that bit right there. Very bright, obviously, but again, it's accurate. I mean, all of them had predominantly these colors. I mean, I like the fact, and this is what I was kind of talking about, that with the added kind of wash on here, it kind of breaks up just that very bright color that otherwise would dominate these figures. And I mean, if you wanted to have a more accurate look, you would get rid of that, but I do like that little splash of paint in there to break things up. Absolutely gorgeous. I really can't pick a favorite. They all look absolutely stunning. Now, one thing that I don't know for certain is a lot of people are saying that this is a Target exclusive, at least here in North America. I did find mine at Target as well. So it does seem that at least the initial release has them being a Target, but I don't know if that's a for certain thing. At least here in North America. I mean, I don't know where they'll be coming, you know, in other places around the world. But Target is where I did find mine. And I was really lucky. I wasn't expecting to find anything. I walked in and I saw it. And I do think it's a great set. The mold is fantastic. The wear or whatever, while a lot of these Siege figures, almost all of them, have it, and some of it looks good, some of it doesn't. On these guys, I do think it looks good. Like I said, it breaks up that solid color that each of these characters had. And as I said, they're Tetrajets, and that's what these guys were. So, without a doubt, I would absolutely pick these guys up. They add more to your Decepticon shelf, they add more to your Seeker shelf, whatever the case may be, they're good figures to have. So, all that being said, if this is a set that you'd like to add to your collection, as I mentioned, it is hitting locations specifically Target right now. So if you're looking for them, good luck and happy hunting. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. Remember, if you like this video, I would really appreciate your support, guys, if you would do one small thing for me. And that is just to simply hit that thumbs up button. That one very small gesture, which takes 1 second to do, really does go a long way towards helping me out, and I would really appreciate it. I'd also like to send a huge thank you if you made it all the way to the end of this review. Another way that you can really help support my channel is making sure that you watch a video all the way through. And if you did that, thank you. Again, I want to send a huge shout out to DDDDcade over on Twitter for helping to make this review possible. And finally, remember, grow wise, grow strong, but never grow up. Thank you for watching and taking the time to be a kid.